Hey everyone, Current Katie here with an intro to this episode to let you all know we are talking about Wicked, but my guest and I talked a lot about Wicked, so we had to split it into 2 episodes. By all means, listen to these episodes in segments, maybe listen to them song by song because we go through the movie song by song. So listen to our thoughts and opinions about this song, maybe while you're in the car. And then when you get back in the car, listen to the next song. Or listen to it all in one go while you're cleaning the house. Whatever floats your boat. But we did split it into 2 episodes. So part 1, we will talk all the way, get ready for the pun, through Dancing Through Life. And then the second part, the second episode will pick up at I'm Not That Girl. So let's get started. Hope you guys enjoy this episode of Muggle with a Mic. So welcome everyone back to another musical episode of Muggle. We should say musician with a mic, but it's Muggle with a mic. Katie here. Musical with a mic. There you go. This is why I have these musical experts on the episode today. I've got Kaitlynn and Maggie with me. Hey guys.
Hey.
We've got, and Kaitlyn's with us from Final Boss Con. Welcome back, Kaitlynn. And we have Maggie from, let me make sure I'm saying it, Musette Performing Arts School, correct?
That's it. You got it.
I got it. I want to, before we get started, we're going to talk about Wicked, which is wicked awesome.
Yeah.
But before we get started, we're going to do our mugs. And also I want to hear more about some Final Boss Con info and info about the Musette's. Is there a shorter version of saying the Musette School?
We call it impasse for short.
Okay.
MPAS, acronym, yeah.
Impasse, okay. So Kaitlynn, whenever you're ready, your mug, and let me know about Final Boss Con.
Okay, great. So this is my mug that I got today. One of the cool things about this, I put stickers on it from Free Run. So
nice. What's Free Run?
Favorite anime. It's an anime.
Okay.
And it has 1 season. It's really great.
Okay.
Kenzie's trying to get the main voice actor for Final Boss Con, but we'll see if that happens. Anyways, so I got this today at the Hope Homestead General Store, and it's a tea infuser mug. So there's this big infuser thing that sits in it, and you put your loose tea in it. You pour your hot water in it, and I put a little lid on it, and then it like makes it all nice and yummy. And I have their cranberry orange tea, and it's amazing.
Fancy.
I know. I have to give them a shout out because it's so good.
The mug is multifunctional.
I know.
Multi-talented, like the cast of Wicked. It's a tie-in right there.
Yeah, this is my mug and the contents of said mug.
Very nice. Very nice. Maggie.
Oh, well, mine's a real state-of-the-art mug. It makes some cool sound effects. It is a classic plastic, very bad for the environment, and probably myself water bottle. One use.
You know what? A lot of people have those, and they can relate to having that.
I almost grabbed my mug from downstairs because I was afraid this would make noise and forgot it was part of the assignment. So
it's okay. It was on the outline, Miss Maggie.
So far, so good, guys. I'm really killing this.
This is the first time I've actually remembered my mug, so you're fine. You're doing fine. I always forget it. She'll go, okay, and everyone their mugs. I'm like, yeah. Every time I forget it, and it's usually the same mug because I only have so many.
Hey, when we say mug, we mean a drinking vessel, and no one can prove that that's not a drinking vessel. So
okay, I like that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'm gonna take it.
Stretch. But
all right, well, here's mine that's better than both of yours. No, I'm joking.
You win. Let's see.
It's the cup I got at Waitress when I went and saw it in New York.
Oh, really great work.
Let's there you go. It's got some bubbly in it, some cherry bubbly. But I saw it with when Jason Mraz was in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
All right. So let's get into Wicked. All right. So I want to hear both of your first initial memory of Wicked, what it means to you, how you got into it, that kind of stuff. We'll start with Maggie, then we'll go to Kaitlynn.
Okay, so Wicked came out when I was, I think, a junior in high school. We were, Katie. And I was knee-deep into musical theater at that point, knew I wanted to do that for a job. And so it was very formidable. And I think I sang every song for every performance I could sing. And my best friend and I, Vanessa Wilson, now Chow, she and I would sing it in the car driving everywhere in high school. So
I remember you guys read, or you sang For Good, didn't you?
Yes.
At was it Vanessa's final
her final variety show?
There you go. Yes.
For madrigals.
I remember that.
Our school show choir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that summer we went to New York and we saw it, and it was just as epic as I ever dreamed it would be. But the really crazy full circle of this is she was just visiting me this weekend because we don't live in the same town anymore. And I have an 8-year-old daughter and she has a 9-year-old daughter. And at one point I was like, Vanessa, come listen. And they were up in my daughter's room blaring Defying Gravity on the Alexa. And it was quite a full circle moment.
Did you cry?
Yes. We just looked at each other like, oh. But yeah, I feel like it's been stepping stones all through my life since I was a teenager. It keeps coming back around and it's cool. I auditioned for it when I lived in New York, so I got to dance that choreography, and it is just, it's just delicious. So good.
Oh my gosh, that okay. My memory is going to pale in comparison.
Well, I didn't make it. I didn't go to the audition.
I didn't even go close to auditioning. Are you kidding me? Remember, Dad at a wedding dancer. That's me. Oh, that's great. Kaitlynn, what's your first memory?
Okay, so I've always liked musicals and stuff, but I didn't do a whole lot of it when I was younger. But when it came to Columbus in 2016, my parents were like, hey, do you guys want to go? And I'm like, absolutely. Yes, I do. Thank you very much. And so we went, and I remember sitting next to my sister-in-law, or my now sister-in-law, and we were sitting there, and the whole time we just kind of would glance at each other like, this is the best moment of my life. This is great. I love this. And I'm going to send you a picture of me there for the first time. Like, I had them like take my picture with like the stage and everything behind me, like an intermission or something. And it was just so awesome. And Mackenzie had seen it already. He's actually seen more Broadway shows than I have, and that really bothers me. And so he had already seen it. He's like, I don't really care. And I'm like, we're listening to this soundtrack on the way home. I love this. And like, it's generally in one of like my top Spotify tracks. Popular's my favorite song, so I listen to that one a lot. So yeah, it was so much fun. And then I remember when we left, I was Googling all the things, because of course that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to come out with a movie. Many years later, here we are. We have it. And just to kind of connect a couple things. So we saw Wicked in Columbus in 2016. And for Final Boss Con, we have the voice actor, Stuart Zagnut, who is the voice of Professor Oak. Well, he is also plays a lot of roles on Broadway. And one of those roles is the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And he was actually Oz when we went to see it in 2016. And like, I have opened this twice. Like, I've taken it out just to double check every time. Like,
yeah,
that is his name. That his name is on there. So when he comes to Final Boss Con, I'm gonna have him sign that instead of the Pokemon stuff.
You both have full circle stories. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Maggie, you started it and now your daughter's listening to it. And then Kaitlynn, you started it and you started with Stuart Zagnut and now he's coming to Final Boss Con. It's just boomerangs.
Everywhere.
Yeah. I don't think I have a boomerang story though.
It's all right.
I'm trying to
Maybe
tie.
you're in the boomerang. You haven't quite gotten to the other side of it yet.
Oh, okay. Johnny B and I are no, that's not possible.
That's
It's
it.
not possible. But that's okay.
That's an episode in itself. I mean, I know we're getting there, but come on.
Yes, please.
No, my first memory ties into high school, Maggie. Carol, you remember our friend Carol?
Of course.
Carol was listening to the CD on the band bus. And I was like, what is with this? Everyone's talking about it. I don't get it. She took her CD player headphones off, put them on my head, and I loved it immediately. I was like, oh, this is why. And so my sister got me the CD for Christmas, and then she gifted me tickets. Sarah gifted me tickets to go see it in Columbus. And when it was my first musical ever, that's what the playbill back here is from.
Was it really?
First musical, any place,
That's
anywhere.
So good.
I know. I start with a strong one.
It was your first too?
Yeah.
Boomerang.
Wow. What a good first one.
But so I'm watching it, and I mean, we all love music. I'm watching it and just seeing these performers put their heart and soul into everything they're doing out on that stage for the first musical I'm ever seen. And then defying gravity, and she flies out above the audience. I was sobbing. I was crying.
Yeah.
I'd never cried like that over something before. And I thought, this is what art is all about. It makes you feel things. It makes you vicariously live through these characters. And that's why we need to support the arts, because it does. It makes us better people. It pushes us to try things maybe we wouldn't want to try or something like that. But I love it so much. And now the movie's out and I cried twice during it. So there's the full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. There was lots of tears.
Yes.
Yes.
But the show and the movie.
Anyway, okay. So, Maggie, can we hear about what you're doing with the Musette Performing Arts Center? Speaking of the importance of the arts.
Yes.
You like that?
Okay. I liked it. Okay, so it started as a dance studio. Back in 2017, I just formed my own dance studio through the French Art Colony. And then this year we finally got our own space and we branched out and we now incorporate a music studio under it. So it's dancing and acting and theater for ages 3 to 18. And yeah, we have our own beautiful space on 2nd Avenue in Gallipolis.
Great.
And yeah, we have more classes than we can manage. It's awesome. We have so many kiddos and it's wonderful. It's what I wish I would have had growing up here. So
oh yeah, I saw your post. I loved your post when you moved from the French Art Colony to the new building, because all the dancers and performers were walking over and you were documenting each step they were taking. It was really cute.
Like the speed run. Yeah. I thought that was cute too.
It's cool. I wish you all could have seen it in person because they didn't know about it. And, you know, obviously we wanted to expand our business for business purposes, but mainly for our kiddos because they were getting so big. They were running out of space.
That's
and
great.
So one day I just showed up to their point class. My sister-in-law, who's my business owner with me, we showed up to their point class and we're like, all right, guys, we're going on a field trip. And we walked them over there. That's the video you saw. And when I unlocked the door, they all just started crying and sobbing. It was so cute. I was like not expecting that big of a reaction from them, but they have been just thrilled.
That's great.
I know I'm excited about it. Like as a parent, it has been a really good motivator for potty training with Iris. She is 3.5, and I'm like, hey, once we get this figured out, we're gonna put you in dance with Miss Maggie. And one of the fun things about I went to New York this past weekend. We talked about that, and I asked her, hey, what do you want from New York? And she wanted a ballerina ornament, and I'm like, okay. And she's a little dancer and singer, so like we have been like pushing this like, hey, once you figure out how to pull your pants back up, we're golden. We are almost there. So I think
and then you send her my way.
Yeah, I think the spring we're gonna have that like totally locked down. So we'll be in touch.
I cannot wait.
Dance, the big motivator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so excited about Stuart Zagnut, excited about the Musette Performing Arts Center or the MPAS. Also, I need to know, are you doing an adult improv class?
Oh, I have talked to some people about it. So it's in the works.
Good.
Possibly like a workshop or 3.
Literally, I'm not joking. Keep me up to date.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
I did improv at Rio, so yeah, put me on that.
Good, you should do it too.
List. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Great.
Should we do
You
it?
might have to separate Katie and I. We might just, you won't get anything done.
Yes, and
That's perfect. That's what we need. Yes, and what shall we do next?
I've never done it before, but it really appeals to me. Like because it's just a spontaneous imagination. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just like is free flowing creativity, and it's kind of hard to tap into that when we're so used to filtering ourselves. So it's fun when you can just let whatever comes out come out.
Oh yeah, I love watching Make Some Noise on Dropout TV. Have any of you ever watched that? It's on.
No, but I used to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
It's
all
a
the
version
time.
of that.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Okay, let's get into Wicked because I'm sure we've got another hour more to talk, or maybe 2. All right, we'll see. You guys let me know when I'm tiring you out, okay? All right, so we're going to go through the movie basically song by song. I think that's the best way for us to kind of organize our thoughts. But then we have some favorites that we might go through. If we don't cover any of them, we can catch up with them at the end. But movie starts out with No One Mourns the Wicked. Glinda. It's Glinda at this point, right?
At that point, it's Glinda. Yeah.
Yeah. She comes down in her little bubble. We're in Munchkin Land. What are your thoughts on the opening? Like, how did you feel hearing the music start? That kind of stuff.
Well, did you notice the Easter egg with the font? I'm a big font person because where I'm in marketing. You notice the font of Wicked isn't what you have like right down there or wherever I'm pointing. There.
Yes.
It's different. It's not that. It's the curly font like it is in The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that little Easter egg too. When I saw that, I'm like, that's weird. Oh, that's what they did. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, there's so many nostalgia things that they do throughout the film. Yeah.
It's so threaded in. I had seen an interview before I saw it with Stephen Schwartz about listening to all of the little motifs in the opening, like that there were lots of musical clues.
Yeah.
And so then my favorite one was the when they go ding dong the witches, and then they don't say dead. They cut off that note, so it just goes ba 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 ba, and it holds it. And so they never put in the dead line, which I thought that was super sneaky and cool.
He's a genius. He really is.
Yeah.
And he loves what he's doing, and it shows that through all the intricate details like that.
Yeah. I love that he had so much of a part in the movie too, because then he just got to expound upon his original creation.
Oh yeah.
Made it super exciting.
That makes it all the more authentic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. When the captain of the ship is on the ship, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we get our first listen to Ariana Grande singing in this. What were your thoughts on her as Glinda? We're gonna say Glinda the whole time. Okay.
Deal.
So I was very concerned with a pop star coming in for this role. Now I have heard her on different things, how she can sound like she has an amazing range. I don't know tons about singing, so Maggie's gonna have to supplement this part. But when I heard her, I was like, you don't sound like a pop star. There was one time where I'm like, oh, there's a little pop to that, but it worked. But she didn't sound like a pop star to me. She sounded like Glinda. And I was like, okay, I'm on board with this.
I just heard in an interview she took 2.5 months of training to sound operatic before her audition.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that gave me hope, because I was apathetic about her before. I didn't have feelings really either way. But I was a little like, oh, I don't know. Is that the best casting choice?
Yeah.
But the only thing that gave me hope was, have you guys seen her interviews like on Jimmy Fallon where she does vocal impressions to sound like other people?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought she was a great singer, but those in particular, I was like, okay, I bet she can really.
Yeah.
So I almost was imagining she was going to sound too much like Kristen Chenoweth, like she was going to do an impression, but it was like the perfect homage to her, right? So like she had bits of her sounding like that, but totally in her own way. And I really appreciated that she did it so true to the original score.
Because she loves it so much. Yeah.
I loved her.
Yeah.
I think what they did with the casting in this is, which it's hard to find someone in theater, I think right now, that doesn't love Wicked. But everybody who was cast, they were fans before it even started. Like, this is a role of a lifetime, I think, for each and every one of them. I agree with you. I was worried about the Poppy stuff. Yeah. But you're right, Maggie. That's about her doing impressions. But I also think that she proved her acting skills in this as well, because she hasn't done much acting. So I think the combination of her range, I think, got her an audition. And then her practicing got her the role. Yeah. So she proved that, oh, yeah, I can change. I can be someone other than, pop star on a stage. So.
Right. And I think her experience working on like the kids shows on Nickelodeon, I think that helped her with her comedic timing, which is very important for Glinda's role, because she very much, as much as she is a serious character, she is that comedic bit as well. And I know we're not to the song yet, but
go for it.
Okay, so Popular is my favorite song in Act One. In Act One.
Yeah, we can't talk about her and not talk about Popular. So yeah.
I know, right? And I'm like, this is my favorite song. Like, I'm nervous, and she both did it justice and made it her own, and that's what I loved. Like, I didn't want it to be exactly the show, even though that's fine too, but having that separation of, this is the show, this is the movie.
Yeah. And
I loved the come on.
How did she not throw her neck out doing that so many times?
I just hurt myself. But like you said about her not being exactly like Kristen Chenoweth, like before we started this, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to Popular from the show and then the movie and like compare in my mind. And there are certain parts where they get those comedic times in the songs at like the same, but yet they're different in their own way. But you still get the point of how they sing that part. Like the "Don't make me laugh," and then "Don't make me laugh." Like this, like the subtle differences I loved, because I want there to be a difference between the show and the movie. And for that song, like I said, that's my favorite song, and I was very concerned about that show. And I told Mackenzie, I'm like, if I ever meet her, like Ariana Grande, she'll be like, "Thank you for taking care of Glinda." Like, I think she did a good job. And and then, okay, so I could keep going on. We're at No One Mourns the Wicked, so I'm going to back up.
You're fine. No, so the other thing you mentioned was like they made slight changes like in timing or something like that. I was worried after the aftermath of the poster change that people were going to be nasty about any tiny little change happening to the music or anything. I don't think we got that. I think the poster is in the past. I didn't have a problem with it. But I think that's in the past, and I think they proved, oh, we care about this, people. This is everyone's baby, and we're not going to drop it. So, yeah.
I had seen in like interviews where Ariana Grande, she was reading the script, and there was like a piece about like the way they changed like a word or something, and I guess she called Cynthia, and then they together called the director and was like,
it was
change it back.
The wizard will see you now. They weren't going to say that.
Yeah, the fact that they were so protective of like the source material they took such good care of it, like you said, Kaitlynn.
Yeah.
And I think all of us Wicked fans appreciated it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we'll move on because I know we will talk a lot about each song, but I'm going to keep the train rolling to the Emerald City.
Jumping. I'm really excited about that one.
This is what it's about. Okay, we're Dear Old Shiz. I mean, it's a short song, but why don't we talk about? Well, actually, we didn't even talk. Oh my gosh, there's so much. It's almost a 3-hour movie. Because then I'm thinking about the flashback to now. Let's just say there's going to be spoilers in here because we all know the full story of Wicked.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the whole show of Wicked, we're going to be making spoilers for part 2.
Yeah, because we know Easter eggs that are in there that are foreshadowing, and we're going to talk about them. Yes. So we know the wizards are dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So did you notice it was Jeff's voice at the beginning? Do you think it was subtle enough that people not knowing wouldn't catch on? What do you think, Maggie?
I don't know. His voice is so distinctive, and obviously already knowing it, it was immediately able to spot it. But I do think if you're a new viewer to Wicked, you probably wouldn't realize it.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it would be okay and still a surprise because there's so much going on in that little bit anyway. Which the internet is ruining everything for everyone. I know, but listen, there's a whole year. They're going to know everything. Yeah, true. Very true. Okay, so we get that flashback and we get introduced to Elphaba and her childhood. How her dad doesn't like her. What's the nurse bear called? Dulcie Bear. She was my favorite. I love her little walk. In the stage version, it's like a goat woman, which is totally fine. But I loved that. I feel like normally in the stage version, the only connection you have to the animals is the lion, really, and Dr. Dillamond, yeah. And so the fact that they brought in that other aspect of the animals in more of a human type role was so lovely.
I think that also helps foreshadow her protectiveness and why she's so passionate about caring about the animals. It's not just, it's someone who took care of her.
Showed her kindness.
Right.
And especially when she was shunned by her father.
Exactly. So I think it really shows the passion of and why it is such a serious thing that she is risking everything she ever dreamed for, because this cause means so much to her. And then giving that flashback scene gives us that context.
Yeah, loved it. Okay, let's just talk about Shiz. We'll get into Shiz now. So what did you think of, first of all, the scenery of Shiz, the school itself, the uniforms, all that fun stuff?
It felt like fan fiction. It felt like someone who loved Wicked as much as we have all these years ago took it and was like, okay, now I'm going to create the world. Like, here's your Universal Studios Harry Potter. Like, you get to see all the details up close. You get, like, that's what it felt like. It felt like such a treat to get to see it all finally in the flesh, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
What I really... Oh, sorry.
You're fine. I just couldn't get enough of it. It was great.
What I appreciate is that they were very focused on practical sets. And not and just supplementing with CGI versus vice versa. And I think as far as those who have worked on Wicked as prop masters and behind the scenes and stuff, I think that is important because that still keeps a part of the show that these are real tangible things. This isn't some fake background behind me. So I think that is very cool. And you can tell that in the movie.
You can tell.
Real. This is not, a bunch of CGI, which is what I thought it would be, kind of based a bit on the, like the previews and stuff. But the fact that they did so much practical sets and everything like that, I mean, it really sets it apart versus other movies.
Not only practical sets for the visual standpoint, but they were also built for them to dance on. Like in The Wizard and I, she's jumping like across the water part. Like they were just perfectly built for the live singing and for dancing and moving through them, and like the single shot camera. It all worked so well together.
Oh yeah. And there were a lot of scenes where it had it felt like it had an open feel, almost like it was a stage production, but it wasn't. Like the train station, where the Emerald Palace and Munchkinland, it was just very open, but it also didn't feel like a stage, but I felt like it was giving homage to the stage, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, wanted to point out, help me figure this out. Do the students of Shiz and everyone in Emerald City, do they know what the wizard looks like? Or do they just see the big gold mask?
Well, you also have Madame Morrible, who interacts with the wizard, so she knows what he looks like.
But they have his face up on Shiz and the cement thing that she sings into during The Wizard and I.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what he looks like, but no one ever... He always talks through the face. So I'm like, do these people... Are they supposed to know what he looks like? Or then why does he hide behind the gold face?
I think that's the big thing in the original Wizard of Oz, is that you do not know what he looks like.
Right.
But I never considered that for Wicked.
Neither did I, but I mean, they do, because he's up on that, remember, Elphaba breaks the wall and it reveals the animal thing behind the wizard's sculpture or whatever it is.
The mural.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that they did that.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is really important, at going back to the whole reason why she is wicked.
Yeah.
You know, why they say she's wicked. So it helps with the main plot of it all. And I think that's very, very nice that they did that.
But every thought was put into every little detail. I love it. John Chu needs all the awards.
Truly.
Okay. Also, while we're on it, what did you think about Madame Morrible, played by Michelle Yeoh?
I was kind of on the fence. I just don't know. I'm so used to the original cast recording, where I feel like that voice is very strong, and I wasn't completely like blown away. It was good, but I wasn't blown away personally.
I will say that role tends to lean itself towards a more spoken sung combo, and so she was definitely leaning more into the speak singing side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, even if it's meant to be that way, sometimes it feels a bit like a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just the smallest bit felt a little bit like that, like she couldn't sing it. But I enjoyed her costumes the most.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. As for acting skills, she plays I think she's a nice teacher turned evil woman very well. Yeah. I mean, it's Michelle Yeoh. You can't go wrong with that. She's everything, everywhere, all at once. But this is, I think, a situation where we wanted good acting and maybe got average singing. I hate to say that. I love Michelle. Don't get me wrong.
But are we already predisposed to, like, we don't like her because we know she's a bad guy? Like, that's what I kept thinking. Oh, she's a bad guy. I don't like her. Like, so immediately I'm already feeling negatively towards
Interesting, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking about today. I'm like,
that's interesting. Yeah.
Was she not as good, or am I already just like, this character's evil and she like hurts Elphaba and no one hurts Elfie? Like, So that's kind of where I'm wondering if that's why I feel that way.
Yeah. I just wanted her to be a little bit more flamboyant, if that makes sense. More, exaggerated in her emotions. I don't know. I didn't think Morrible was horrible. I just
agreed. I didn't leave with distaste of her performance.
No,
but I did do a little check mark in my brain of, oh, okay.
Left me wanting just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like I'm going back and saying they don't get the Oscar for this. Yeah. It's still a great movie. She still did a great job at the role. It'd be like if I had to do choreography. Do we want
There's
that?
also so many few things that I would give constructive criticism to that's just one of like two things.
Gotcha. Okay, guys. What is this feeling so sudden and new? What is your
I
thought?
know the moment I laid eyes on you.
Yes!
How'd you do it?
And then I can never remember the order. I know it's bad. My face is flushing. My head is reeling. My face is flushing. That's the third one.
Yeah. I forget the first one.
My pulse is rushing. My head is reeling. No, I think I did it in the wrong order. You get the gist.
Anyways, the costumes in that scene are awesome. They're robes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one who noticed that in the costumes, shoulders were really defined? And like, I loved Glinda's her little robe, her little pink thing, and it's very, very Aussian, like the way that it was. I don't know. I just really liked it.
Steampunky.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I loved it. What is this feeling that it felt like we got to see a portion of their time there at Shiz. You know, you can't really capture that in the musical as well, that it's over a period of days. You know, that you're seeing this relationship
Loathing.
grow into hatred. And yeah, so I loved the whole medley, the way it was all tied together with the footage. It was great.
Did you know that, speaking of the costumes, I believe in Galinda's Shiz uniform, there's little bubbles on her shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere that it was the Fibonacci sequence was in all of her costumes, like in her shoulders, and whenever it's the cutouts of the bubbles, that's what it is. Isn't that interesting?
Cool.
Details.
I know.
Details. I love them because you know why? Because then you can watch this movie so many times, like The Office, and you find something in the background that you didn't notice before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I love this song. This is one of the ones that I sang over and over, more so than popular for me, because you have both voices in it. And so I loved it. I love the room. I love their room together.
Yes.
I love the bit with the suitcases. That was fun to have in there. Because as someone who has had roommates, like, oh my gosh, I feel that so much. Like, get your crap on your side of your room. Like, I could feel that.
I had a sister and shared a room with her for like 15 years. There's a story about a fish tank maybe being broken, and it may or may not have been my fault because my clothing went on her side of the room. And so, long story. But anyway, I get sharing a room, and so does my sister. But no, I love that. Okay, and this is the song that has the TikTok dance move now. That's all I know.
The book. Which I will say, the dancing in the musical is so distinct and kind of created its own vernacular, and was really known for looking like ballet on the bottom and modern dance on the top of your body. And so the choreographer really just made like this own kind of dance format. And I was looking forward to seeing bits of that just as much as I was looking forward to hearing the music. I knew it'd be different choreography, but just like you're looking forward to those big certain notes in the songs, and I wanted some of that. And it definitely was still angular and still had a lot of the qualities of the same movement. But man, I wish they would have done a little bit more of
interesting
some of the odes to the original.
See, now, as someone who's only seen it once as a musical, and then the rest of the time it's just all been the soundtrack. You know, everyone knows the soundtrack, you know, beat by beat. But as for me, I like that, I wouldn't be able to pick that out. So would you say you prefer the stage choreography over the movie?
It's not even that I preferred it, but I was nostalgic towards it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so just as much as I was looking forward to hearing what did Cynthia Erivo do at the end of Defying Gravity, like what was her sound, like I was wanting to see some of the similar choreography. And in the movie, lots of times it's more background than it is in the musical, which is totally works. But yeah, I just wanted a little bit of the old stuff. But I really enjoyed the movie choreography.
Did you see anything in the movie that was reminiscent of the stage? Did you see like even a little move or anything?
Oh, I mean, some things.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Like
point them out to us because I'm not.
The way they do their shoulders and what is his feeling.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
That's very similar.
Okay.
But
nothing else.
No, nothing else. Nothing. It was all new, the rest of it, which is great.
I got you.
I just wanted a little bit.
I have to say, from a not qualified dancer, not a dancer at all. I go to the school of step tap. It's just literally step tap. I judge dancing on whether I wish I could do it.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do all of that. I mean,
yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely is appealing and beautiful and well done. I'm not saying any of those things.
Oh no, yeah. No, but I don't have a keen eye to know the difference on some of it. Like in a music, I can tell if someone's out of tune or something like that. But when it comes to dancing, all of it just seems like everyone's better than me. Okay. So we did What Is This Feeling? Now we're going to do something bad.
Okay, so I did not look at very much before going to see the movie because I wanted to have a totally fresh perspective, not any preconceived anything apart from all the other drama stuff. I was sitting there and I was like, what is Dr. Dillerman? Who is that? I know that voice. How do I know that voice? And the whole time I'm like you cannot bring up IMDb in the theater. You cannot be that person. And you're not going to walk out to figure it out because you're going to miss something. And then as soon as I got in my car, I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's who. It's Peter Dinklage. And I
wish you could just go, who plays Dr. Dillerman in Wicked? And then have your earbud in. And maybe it'll read it off to you.
That's what I'm going to do the next time I go to the movies. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he did a great job, and I liked getting more information about the animal and like the main plot and everything. That's one of the things I do like about musical to movie adaptations, because I feel like it you get more of the plot and you get more story with it. And I just thought they did that really good with giving more information about
really
it.
well. Get it? From the movie. Jesus. Sorry.
It's even better too when it's a book that's the original source material, because then they have so many different things to draw from. And so we got little. I've only read parts of the book. I've never read the whole thing, but I know that with the animal
apparently
stuff,
is it
a
much
lot more
different
in from the novel? Yeah.
Yes, I've read the book. It is much different. And just as a PSA to anyone who is watching this, just because it has Ariana Grande on the cover does not mean it is okay for kids. No. It is very adult. There's a lot of adult themes in it. I didn't care for the book, but I was a young adult at the time.
I've heard the same from people when I was young to now, that people, I'm glad they wrote it because it created Wicked, the musical. But it sounds like I haven't even read the book because it doesn't sound like I would enjoy it. It's got way too much like extra stuff in it. Yeah.
It's kind of slow too.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a lot of details. It reminds me a lot of Tolkien's. Like, I don't need you to describe it to me. Like, can we get to like the conversation part? And I'm usually really bad about skipping descriptions to get to like what they're talking about. Like, I want a fast moving story. And so the book, it wasn't my taste, but I saw something online, which if you're trying to describe Wicked to someone, it's a movie based on a musical, based on a book, based on a movie based off of a book.
It repeats. Yeah.
It's a Russian doll.
Which is why it's so great that now they've taken it into this medium of film, because then we get to enjoy it in such a new way that is more interesting and entertaining than even other formats would take, such as the book or the stage version. Like, you get more, but yet it's still fast paced.
Yeah. I will say, since we're on something bad, I'm going to be honest with you guys because I trust you. I feel safe here. I always skipped it on the CD.
It's more of a plot important song, not one like you go to because it's stuck in your head.
Yeah. Like, I did not remember the lyrics to it. I didn't. But I liked what they did, cinematically wise. I loved how they did the shadow puppets, whatever it was. It got you engaged. It had you listening to it rather than, if you're watching the movie, you might skip it. I probably would watch it again because the graphics were super neat. And the little animal was shining a little candle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I liked what they did.
With a mustache.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you see when Dr. Dillamon poured the tea with his hoof? There's a little thing on the tea, whatever, the kettle, to help him turn it. It was so sweet.
I loved all those little adaptations. And like, he kicked the thing to flip the chalkboard too with his hooves.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and I love the theme of that they're just trying to quiet the animals. It's a real life thing, just not with animals. But where a certain group of people are silenced for just being who they are. So I love that theme of the movie and how Alphaba stands up to it. So, of the story, not just the movie, the entire thing. Now, Johnny Be Good.
Yes, this is what I've been waiting for.
Oh,
Dancing Through Life. This was my number one song on the soundtrack when I would listen to it on the way to Pennsylvania. 5 hours of Wicked soundtrack in my ears. Dancing Through Life was on repeat 12 times, but go for it. I just want to hear your thoughts. I don't know if you know I like the song, but go ahead.
Kaitlynn, the same. I did not watch any clips or anything before I went because I just wanted to be surprised. And I did not expect the amount of, first of all, he's such a good dancer. He's clearly such a theater kid. I did not know that. I'm sorry. I only knew he was from Bridgerton. But you could just tell immediately, oh, you've been doing theater since you were a wee lad. You could tell.
Yeah.
And back to the practical sets too, with the spinny thing in the library. 100 out of 100 stars. It was,
and it really,
cool.
it's so Aussian. You have that whole feel of you're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
So it's so well done. And I saw an interview, this is after I watched the movie, that they were saying that the part where he uses his feet to kick the books open,
I saw this.
He did that. And it wasn't faked or anything.
My concern, I would be the medic on scene. I'm worried he'd turn an ankle or something like that, flipping those books open and sliding on them. I'd be like, who's letting him do this?
He was so likable too. Sometimes Fiyero, he can come across a little
arrogant,
cold and arrogant. Yeah. And then you come to like him and learn his story. But I felt like he played it in such a great way that was warm, and you liked him immediately, despite knowing he was a bit full of himself.
Well, it's Johnny B. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. The boy was born with a full source of charm. His eyes each eye deserves an Oscar in and of itself.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I was watching him as Anthony.
No, he's completely different.
Fiyero.
Yeah.
There was no doubt he was in that role. And I know that he was practicing his dance moves in his trailer while filming Bridgerton.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it goes back to what you had said, is everyone in this cared for the musical and want it to be well done. And so I love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to mention, I have this in my notes under behind the scenes fact.
Yes.
Again, I totally went on IMDb and looked up everything. Marissa Bode, who plays Nessa Rose, is actually disabled and uses a wheelchair. And it's the first time in Wicked history that the character has been portrayed by a disabled actor. I love that.
I know. Inclusion.
I love that. I think that is so wonderful that we're able to see that and have that. And I'm really looking forward to see how they do that in part 2 with the slippers and everything. So I just thought that was a fun fact. And she has a really important scene there in Dancing Through Life with Bach there, and I think that part is really cool. And I thought the actors did a really great job of, with everything.
Yeah, I had seen somewhere too where people who are disabled oftentimes aren't able to do stunts, in movies, and that she was able to do the tether for the wheelchair lift where Elphaba first shows her magic. And what a cool thing and a cool experience that not only they let her do her own stunts, but then the fact that they cast her, she had that opportunity. It's just nice all around.
I loved her wheelchair too. I'm including that in the costumes. Her wheelchair looks super, steampunk, and I loved it.
And I thought she was a really good Nessa Rose, where you can see how she was the doted on baby sister, and how much Elfie wants to protect her, but yet let her be her own person and to grow. And you can still see that sisterhood there. And from the original cast recording, I think Nessa Rose kind of comes off kind of snooty towards Elfie. But in this, I didn't feel that. I felt there was that caring sister relationship there, and it wasn't so much of I'm the daddy's favorite, I'm better than you. I didn't feel that way. I feel that they cared more about each other as sisters and not of pitted against one another. So I really like that.
Yeah.
I don't think you could predict where her character arc takes her in part 2 if you weren't familiar with it. Whereas I think if you saw Act 1 of the musical lots of times, you're right, that character, typically you can already get hints of who she's going to turn into a bit.
Dum, dum, dum.
I gotta say too, with Dancing Through Life, I feel like the emotional aspect of it, once they got to the Ozdust Ballroom, was
we gotta talk
about
gut
wrenching. My heart got absolutely torn out. And the thing I loved about the musical is, the movie is most of the time when you're seeing it on stage, you're seeing it from really far back, and you can tell the actors' emotions based on the sound of their voice, their body language, but you don't get to see their faces up close like that. Right. And the movie was such a treat to get to see their emotions in a much more in-depth way. And that scene was the perfect example of it. It was so tuned into their actual character arc and their feelings, and it was great. We did miss out on the big sweeping musical crescendo in Dancing Through Life.
Fine.
But I'll trade it in for the tears.
Yes. No, that scene, I'm assuming everyone could relate to Elfie in that scene. We've all felt like an outsider at some point in our life, whether it's something small or something big. And we've always wanted a Galinda to come in there and tell us it's okay. And to see that happen, and the way they filmed that, Ariana Grande said that they would do the 10-minute thing in Ozdust over and over. So they wouldn't interrupt the 10 minutes. So they had to keep doing that scene over and over. And they said all the extras around were feeling what we were feeling to the audience and reacting to it. I think it was a beautiful scene. Kleenex got extra money after that scene.
Yeah.
Crying.
That was really well done. Yeah. I was really happy with that. And the fact that she was so brave in that moment too. And that she was like, you know what, I'm here. And at the same time, she was brave in showing her emotions because she is such a closed up person, doesn't share her feeling very much, apart from being angry, which we've seen. But just letting her sensitive side be seen, and that was really cool. And I think so many people are like, oh, this movie's it's about a romance. It's about a friendship. This is a movie about a friendship.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
there is
Hero.
We love him.
He's always been a side character.
Oh gosh, yeah. I can't wait to talk about part 2, and I hope they do. As long as you're mine, well, but that's for part 2. One of my favorite songs.
Yeah, well, that's what we had to look forward to. We had Defying Gravity to look forward to in this one, and
right?
Yeah,
but Dancing Through Life, you know, that scene in the Oz Dust, that is when, you know, the grudges have been set aside and the friendship begins. And then that brings us into Popular, where Galinda's like, okay, you're my new project. We're besties. And then as you see them going in those scenes and everything, that they are becoming more friends. And there's a shift in how other people treat Elfie too. And
well, it's the power of one simple act of kindness, what it can do. Because not only Elfie was brave, Galinda was brave as well. Because
her friends were like, stop, what are you doing?
Yeah. And it was just, Elfie could have also said, leave me alone. But they both accepted each other in that moment, and they both changed in that moment together. I just love it. I love it so much. People need to be like that.
Yeah. And I think it's just a lot about bullying culture. I know it's a big thing that people talk about. But the show has been around for so long, and I really think it helps touch on that too, especially with you have your younger audiences. Like Maggie, I know your daughter went with you, right? So yeah. I think for her to be able to see that of showing kindness and being a friend, it says so much of how we need to treat other people as human beings and care for one another. And that is something I love, that we have a movie now that it is more accessible to more people to get that message of treating people with kindness, treating animals with kindness. Like
every living thing.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and my sister took her daughter, my niece, Ella. Ella loved it. Elfie's her favorite character ever. And so that makes me happy that little girls and little kids' favorite character is someone who is different. Someone who didn't conform to other people's ideas of how she should be. She just stayed true to herself. And that's who they're looking up to now. So I love it. Love it. Okay. We talked about Dancing Through Life. And now we talked about Popular. Do you want to keep talking about it?
I mean, I gave my 2 cents on it. I mean, you guys.
I just have to say that every little beat and moment was accounted for. I was blown away by that song, and I just wanted to watch it 10 times over after the first viewing, because so many, well, I have to say too, that song is a rite of passage for whoever plays Glinda.
Yeah.
There's so many actors and actresses who play that role now. And it is always seen as kind of your initiation of how do you do the take on it? Because there's so much room for play and creativity and comedic choices. And yeah, she delivered. It was amazing. And not only her physicality, but also all of her little facial expressions and her eyes. But it somehow wasn't too much. It was just...
the part when she falls on the bed.
Yes.
So dramatically. And then she swung on this chandelier. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil's gonna call
she's
her.
like going around on the floor on her back. I was just
I love that part.
Okay, and she threw the ruby slippers at that point.
Yeah.
Did you notice
and she clicked them 3 times.
Did she?
There's she has 3 times with them. So either she's wearing them or is holding them or something, and she does it 3 times. And so that's another little Easter egg thing.
But they're not doing anything at this point, right?
Right.
Because she hasn't.
But I think the best Easter egg is when she does ball gown, like they do in the show. And because, obviously in the show, it's not going to do anything because, but it's just.
No, I don't know, Kaitlynn. Why not? Why won't it do it?
The magic is in your heart.
I was going to say, don't say it's not real. No, I'm joking.
But
did you see the Easter egg too, where she does? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I really love that they did that.
Agreed. I think it's unpopular where she talks about political leaders.
Yes, they changed the words.
Did she just say Vita arms? Oh, so good.
Oh, I loved it. And I'm not a girly girl. I don't love Pink, but that song makes everyone love Pink. Yes, everything. Even when she gets up on the little stair and does the little everything. And then what did you think about the ending where she added a little dance break?
I was okay with that.
Because that's an addition. That wasn't on the original, was it?
It is.
It is? Oh.
No, she added that. I mean, it was added by the movie.
I thought she did good. I couldn't do that. Thanks to everyone for listening to our first part of our Wicked episode. Just like the movie, stay tuned for part 2 of part 1 of Wicked, where we pick up with I'm Not That Girl. The episode will come out very shortly. Thanks for listening.